Hello students, I'm Dr. Himanshu Kanpal, Assistant Professor English, Government MS College for Women, Bikaner. In the previous videos, we have read the poem Rabbi Ben Ezra by Robert Browning till stanza 26. Now we will continue with stanza 27. The poem is a dramatic monologue and the speaker is the Jewish scholar Rabbi Ben Ezra. Fool, all that is at all. Last ever, past recall. Earth changes, but thy soul and God stand sure. What entered into thee, that was, is, and shall be. Time's wheel run backs or stops, potter and clay endure. In the previous stanza, the great rabbi asks us to note the metaphor in which God is represented as the potter, time is represented as revolving wheel, and man's soul as passive clay. According to them, as the world is short-lived and transient, man should not engross his attention in future life and in another world. And they are of the opinion that time is fast passing away and past cannot be recalled, so they should enjoy himself in the present. But the speaker regards such philosophy as propounded by fools for the benefit of other fools. So here in these lines, Browning says that philosophers like Omar Khayyam who teach the philosophy of the present are great fools. There is no truth in what they teach. As a matter of fact, all that really exists is not a mere shadow, is eternal. Thus the soul and God are eternal and irrevocable. They can never perish or die. Earthly things, earth changes, but thy soul and God stand sure. Earthly things constantly change and die out. The human soul and its maker, God, are alone immortal. Human soul is eternal. It was in past, present and future. Time may move on, it may stop, or it may go back. But God, the potter, and the soul, the clay, which he molds into shape. Time wheels run backs or stops, potter and clay endure. The soul, the clay, which he molds into shape, shall endure forever. Human soul is eternal. What Rabbi feels that things of the earth change and die, but the potter and the soul, but God, the potter and the soul, the clay which he molds into shape shall endure forever. Human soul is eternal. So here the writer believes in the immortality of the human soul. Move on to the stanza 28. He fixed thee mid this dance. Mid this dance means the whirlpool of worldly circumstances. He here means God. Of plastic circumstance. Conditions. Plastic is conditions. This present thou forsooth wouldst fain arrest. Machinery just meant to give thy soul its bent. Try thee and turn thee forth sufficiently impressed. God has intentionally placed our soul in the whirlpool of worldly circumstances. He fixed thee mid this dance, mid this whirlpool of worldly circumstances. In this world, everything is in a flux, moving swiftly as the feet of a dancer in a dance. Man tries to arrest this rapid flux and movement of the early events and circumstances, but he fails to check this movement. Machinery just meant, machinery means earthly circumstances. He must realize that the human soul is not a slave of circumstances. It can rise above them and shape and modify them. It can master circumstance. As a matter of fact, these earthly circumstances are the machinery, the device that is created by God to mold the human soul into a particular shape. As long as God is the potter, He is what He is doing. He has planned for every human being, and He is responsible for creating all the types of conditions which is necessary to mold the human soul into a particular shape, to give thy soul its bent. Try thee and turn thee forth sufficiently impressed. They are meant to try and test the human soul. What? The circumstances in life, the troubles or the problems, they are meant to try and test the human soul. When the soul has been fully tested and perfectly shaped, it is sent out into other world to face it bravely. Stanza 29. What though the earlier grooves which ran the laughing loves around thy base no longer pause and press? What though about thy rim skull things in order grim grow out in graver mood, obey the sterner stress? Here in this stanza, the metaphor of the potter and his wheel is continued in this stanza and is elaborated at great length. What thou the earliest groves? It means what though. The earliest groove, it means no matter. The earlier grooves, the grooves of the potter's wheel, working on the base of the pot, which is likened to the early years of men's life. A potter shapes a picture and carves on it different designs. On its base, he carves out joyous, youthful figures, say of Cupid, the god of love. Around thy base, no longer pause and press. On the uppermost part, he carves out grim, horrible shapes as the skulls, and he does so not lightly and gently, but with sharper and more piercing instruments. What thou the earlier grooves which ran the laughing loves. Laughing loves here means the laughing figures of Cupid, the god of love. The enjoyment and the pleasures of youth are meant. No longer pause and press here means the base has been shaped and decorated, and the soul and so the wheel no longer works on it. The period of youth is over. What though about thy rim? Rim means old age, the uppermost part of the pot, hence old age. Skull things in order grim. Skull things means horrible figures as skulls, etc. The cares and worries of, it actually means the cares and worries of old age. Grow out in graver mood, obey the sterner stress. Obey the sterner stress are formed by the use of sharper and more piercing instruments. These are the worries and anxieties of age which result from the trials and tribulations of life. So here Rabbi Ben Ezra says that the days of men are days of merriment and enjoyment, and they may be liked or to the beautifully decorated base of the pitcher. The potter, God, creates the pitcher, and the base of the pitcher is beautifully decorated, and here the poet compares the pictures, he compares the pictures metaphorically to the youth, to the young age of life, and the uppermost part there is an uppermost part, he carves out the grim, horrible figures. His old age, on the other hand, is the full of cares and anxieties, terrible stresses and strains, and may be likened to the uppermost part of the picture having horrible shapes carved with sharp, piercing instrument. However, a man must not care for this, nor must be he afraid of death. He must not mourn the loss of his youth, nor worry at the approach of old age, because God has some plan for every human being, and what youth in what in youth, what a human beings get. He is full of life, he is full of energy, and he has many aspirations. And this is the age when he also passes through many kind of difficulties, and when he achieves the old age, though he becomes more wiser, more intelligent, but it has its own problems. The old age is full of anxieties and cares. So, a person must not mourn the loss of his youth, nor worry at the approach of old age. As shown above, old age has its own value and significance. Grow out in graver mood, obey the sterner stress. Whatever is done by the hands of God. He is the potter. He is responsible for carving many things in our lives. Now we move on to the stanza 30. Look not thou down but up, to uses of a cup, the festal board, lamps flash and trumpets peal, the new wine's foaming flow, the master's lip aglow, thou heaven's consummate cup, what needest thou with earth's wheel? Now, in this stanza, Rabbi says that in this stanza, the Rabbi asked men not to look down towards the earth, but to look up towards, but up means heaven, towards God and heaven, to the uses of a cup. Then his soul is likened to a cup. Again, the poet makes use of metaphor in which soul is likened to a cup from which God himself would drink. The festal board. Festal board means the dinner table spread in the banquet hall of God. Lamps flash. It is also decorated with brilliant lights. Trumpets peal. Music which is usual on the occasion of a feast. The new wine's foaming flow. The feast is, the Rabbi asks man to imagine a banquet scene in heaven. The feast is spread on the table. The hall is brilliantly lighted. The music is being played and foaming wine is being served. God, the Maker himself, sits on the table with his lips hot and flushed, the Master's lip aglow, which is ready to drink from the cup of the human soul, which he himself has fashioned, which he himself has perfected. Thou heaven's consummate cup. Consummate means perfect. In other words, this soul of man is an exquisite cup shaped by the divine potter on his divine wheel. In other words, thou heaven's consummate cup, what needest thou with earth's wheel? In other words, human life is destined for the use of God. Man should place himself entirely in the hands of God and must not care for earthly pleasures or trials and tribulations. He must remember his divine origin and rise above the gross and material things of life. Now we move on to the stanza 31. But I need now as then thee, God who mouldest man, and since not even while the world was worst, did I to the wheel of life, with shapes and colours strive, bound dizzily, mistake my end to slake thy thirst. But I need now as then. But I need God's help now as then, in old age as well as youth. So here the Rabbi says he needs God's help, guidance and protection as much as in old age as in youth. The God who mouldest man. It is the God who moulds the soul of a man as a potter moulds a pitcher. Man is entirely in the hands of his maker and entirely dependent on him. And since not even while the world was worst, world was worst means in youth, life was frivolous. The Rabbi knows that the end of human life is the service of the God, the Maker. Did I, to the wheel of life, with shapes and colors strive, bound dizzily, mistake my end to slake thy thirst? He was aware of his, even while the world was worst, in youth when life was round of frivolous pleasures, rife means abundant, manifold, with shapes and colors rife, given to the pleasures of earth. Shapes and colors may be taken to symbolize the beauties of nature. Bound dizzily, bound to the wheel of time and being whirled about on a dizzy round of pleasures. In youth, life is frivolous, whirl of dizzy pleasures. When tied to the ever-moving wheel of life, the human soul fully and abundantly enjoys the colors and shape. Is that the manifold beauties of nature? Now we come to the last stanza of the poem. So take and use thy work, amend what flaws may lurk, what strain of the stub, what warpings past the aim, my times be in thy hand, perfect the cup as planned, let age approve of youth and death complete the same. So take and use thy work. In this concluding stanza of the poem, the rabbi places himself entirely in the hands of God. He feels that God is his maker and he can make use he likes of what he has created. So take and use thy work, amend what flaws may lurk, means amend the defects he likes of what he has created. God should amend the hidden defects from which the cup of his life suffers. He should remove whatever defects there may be in the material of which he is made, defects which twist and distort the material beyond what the eternal potter intended. What strain over the stuff? Strain means force. What warpings past the aim? Defects which twist and distort the material. My times be in thy hand. My times is in the hands of God. I am in the hands of God. I am at the mercy of God. He should remove whatever defects there may be in the material of which he is made, defect which twist and distort the material beyond what the eternal potter intended. The rabbi places himself entirely at the mercy of God. He has full faith in his justice and mercy. He should perfect and shape the cup of his life according to his plan. Life is an organic whole. Perfect thy cup as planned. Let age approve of youth and death complete the same. Life is an organic whole. Old age judges and assesses the achievements of youth and looks forward to the life after death. Just as old age should be welcomed as a period of quiet reflection and thought, so death is also to be welcomed as the gateway to the other world. Just as old age is the consummation of youth, so death is the consummation of this life, so is to be welcomed. So we can say that Rabbi is aware of that, and the purpose of human life is the service of God. Of this he was aware even in his youth. He feels that when tied to the ever-moving wheel of life, the human soul fully and abundantly enjoys the colors and shape. So old age judges and assesses the achievements of youth and looks forward to the life after death. Just as old age is to be welcomed as a period of quiet reflection and thought, so death is to be welcomed as the gateway to the other world. One should not be disappointed at any as long as we are the mercy of God. Just as old age is the consummation of youth, so death is the consummation of this life. What we fail to achieve in this life, we are going to achieve in the next life. So we can say that this monologue is an epitome of Browning's philosophy, It brings out his faith in God, his faith in the immortality of human soul, and his belief that failure in this life means success in this life to come. As long as God is the potter, God is the maker, as long as he is there to plan life, one should not be disappointed. One should, what one fails to achieve in youth is going to get in old age, if and further he is going to be rewarded in the life after death. This is all about the poem Rabbi Ben Ezra. Thank you.